All right, welcome to the course. My name is John Elder from codemy.com and I'll be your instructor today. In this course, we're going to learn how to build an API with Django and Python. And so you can see this is what we're going to be building out here. It's just a basic API that other people can connect to and grab data from. So you can see we've got this website we're going to build that goes along with it. You can look at it from as JSON. Here's the information. This stuff will be contained in a database. We'll learn how to do that, and that should be a lot of fun. So in the next couple of videos, we're going to jump in and start downloading the different tools that we need. Everything is free. There's nothing more you have to pay. I just wanted to mention before we get started, I'm on a Windows computer. Hopefully you are too. If you're on a Mac or Linux, you should be able to follow along. From time to time, there may be a command or something on the terminal that's slightly different. I'll try and point those out. If there's something I miss, because I just start thinking Windows and I forget about Mac and Linux, shoot me a quick message and I'll tell you what you need to do. Or you can Google it. A lot of times you can quickly find an answer, how to do such and such command on a Mac. It'll pop right up. But definitely send me an email if you can't figure it out. That's another thing I want to mention. If there's anything throughout this course that you don't understand, if something doesn't quite work right, if you're getting errors in your code, absolutely feel free to contact me anytime. I'm here in Vegas, sort of West Coast Pacific time, so keep that in mind. If you're on the other side of the world and it's during the day, I'm probably sleeping, but as soon as I wake up, I'll try and get to your question right away. This is what I do for a living. I create courses and I spend my day answering questions from students, so I'm always around answering questions. And I want to really make sure you understand this stuff. So if there's something even you just don't quite understand, if it's just not clicking, shoot me a message. Let me know and I'll walk you through it, and absolutely happy to do that. That's what you get from the course. That's included in the prize for sure. So feel free to do that at any time. Also, depending on where you're watching this course, the system may ask you for a review. I would absolutely appreciate if you shoot out a quick review if you're so inclined or whatever. Even just giving a star review without typing something is good. It's always useful and beneficial for us. It helps with the rankings in the courses, and any feedback you have is definitely useful. Don't feel like you have to. I know like some places they ask you for a review right at the beginning of the course when you haven't yet had time to really understand, but those places always let you update later on. So if it seems to be good and you leave a good review and later you change your mind, you don't like it, you can always change that back or vice versa. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, I think that's all for the kind of intro stuff. In the next video, we'll jump in and start downloading and installing all the tools that we're going to need, and should be a lot of fun. Okay, in this video, we're going to jump right in and start downloading and installing Python. So if you already have Python installed on your computer, and there's a chance you already do, if this is not your first Python thing, I'm still going to recommend that you uninstall it and reinstall it. And I'll show you why in just a second. But to uninstall it on Windows, just go to your Windows Start menu, type in Control Panel, and this will pop up. Come down here to uninstall a program, click on it. Just scroll down here till you find Python and double click it to uninstall it. So pretty simple. So to install this thing, let's go to Google, and I'm just going to type in Python. And you can see the first thing here is python.org, so we'll go there. And this is the official Python website, so we want to go to Downloads here. And here's the button for Windows. If you're on Mac or Linux, you'll see the Mac or Linux button. But notice we're on version 3.7.4. Now, if this version number changes by the time you watch this course, no big deal. Just download the latest one. As long as it's not like 4 and above, as long as it's below 4, you'll be fine. Major version updates are like the first number, so from 3 to 4, from 2 to 3. If it's somewhere in 3, you're fine. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to download, and we can save this anywhere. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. And I'm on Firefox, so my downloads appear up here on this little arrow. If you're on Chrome, they appear down here. Wherever it appears on your computer, just go ahead and click it when it finishes downloading. It's a pretty small file, so it shouldn't take very long. So we just click this to install it. And here's the installation. Now, this is why I want you to uninstall it and reinstall it. See down here, it says add Python 3.7 to path. This is unchecked by default. And this is very important. We want to make sure that this is checked so that Python gets added to our path. And what that means is, on a Windows computer at least, that you can run Python from anywhere on your computer. You don't have to be in the Python directory in order to run it. If we click this little box, that's so. We can run Python anywhere. But by default, for some reason, it's unchecked, and it drives me crazy why that is, because you always want to add Python to path. So make sure that's checked and then come up here and just click install now. And this doesn't take very long. And you'll notice it says 32-bit. Now I'm on a 64-bit computer. Chances are you are too. Why are we downloading the 32-bit version? Why aren't we installing the 64-bit version? Well, the 32-bit version is the one you want. The 64-bit version is a little different, and there's some things in it that we don't really ever need or use but could cause problems. So just the standard default version is the 32-bit version. That's the correct version you want. That's the one everyone uses. So don't be like, oh, I've got a 64-bit computer. I need the 64-bit version of Python. No, you want the 32-bit. So, okay, setup was successful, and that's it. We are ready to go. It's just that easy to install Python on Windows, and very cool. So in the next video, we will start to look at and download and install the other tools that we're going to need, the text editor and the terminal, and that'll be coming up in the next video. Okay, so we've downloaded and installed Python. Now we want to download and install the other two tools that we're going to need, the text editor and the Git Bash terminal. So head over to Google and just type in Sublime Text. And the first thing that pops up is sublimetext.com. Go ahead and click on this. And this is our text editor. It's completely free. Now you can absolutely feel free to use any text editor that you want. If you already have one that you like to use, Visual Studio Code, or I don't know, Notepad++, any real text editor at all, you can use that. I like Sublime Text. I've been using it for years. It's probably one of the most used text editors for coders, completely free, and it's available for Windows, Linux, or Mac. So whatever kind of computer you have, you'll see the download button for that kind of computer. And you'll notice it's Sublime Text 3, build 3207. If these numbers change by the time you watch this video, no big deal. Just download the latest one. Doesn't really matter what version it is. So go ahead and click this, download it for Windows, and you can save this anywhere. I'm just going to save it to my desktop, right? Now, you could save it, and when it finishes downloading, like I'm on Firefox, so it's downloading up here. If you're on Chrome, again, it'll be down there. Click it when it finishes. Now, this is the installation. It's very simple. It's just one button, click Next, and then click Install. Now, I've already installed this on my computer, so I'm not going to go through it again, but it'll just automatically install after you click this button, and you're good to go. So I'm just going to cancel out of this. Now, to run Sublime Text, just click on your Windows Start menu, type in Sublime, and it'll pop up. Kind of looks like this. We'll get into all of this later on, but that's all there is to it. Now, we also need a terminal, something to run our commands on. So I like the Git Bash terminal. Now, if you're on Windows, Windows comes with a command terminal, a command prompt. It also comes with something called PowerShell, and you can use those, but they don't work as well, and you can actually have some problems with version control and stuff using those. So I just recommend that you use this Git Bash one. It's completely free. If you're on Linux or Mac, you already have a terminal. You can feel free to use that. Just go up to the little search function on your Mac or Linux, type in terminal, it'll pop right up. And most of the commands are going to be the same. There's going to be a couple that are different right at the beginning. I'll try and point those out when we get to them. But otherwise, it'll act the same as this one. In fact, that's one of the great things about this Git Bash terminal. It's a bash terminal, just like on Mac or Linux. So here we are, 2.23.0. And this is git-scm.com/downloads, the site that we want. And notice there's a Mac or Linux version. So if you want to run this on Mac or Linux, you can absolutely download it to follow along if you like. Or like I said, just use the terminal that's already on your computer. So go ahead and download this. And this is a pretty slow website. It always takes a little while to download for some reason. Save this anywhere. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. And you can see it's 45 megabytes or so. Now this should download instantaneously on a high-speed internet like I have, and you probably have, but for some reason this website is always slow. It always takes a while to download, so whatever this has been, 15, 20 seconds or so. Drives me crazy, but what are you going to do? Okay, so once it's downloaded, go ahead and click on it and pull this over. Now this installation is a little bit weird, so I'm going to walk you through it. So there's the license, take that, and then we can click Next again. Now the very first thing it asks for is what text editor are you using? And we happen to be using Sublime Text, which is the default listed here. If you're using something else, you can come in here and click it if you want, but don't feel like you have to do it. And if your text editor isn't on this list, don't worry about it, because this and our text editor do not work together in any way. So There's some integration you can do, but we're not going to do that. So it's just sort of silly. I'm not even really sure why they ask that. So just go ahead and click next, leave it as it is. Even if you're not using Sublime, just leave it as Sublime. It really does not matter. So go ahead and click next. And we're going to have a bunch of screens here, and we just want the defaults for all of them. So I'm just going to click next, 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 next. And we don't care what any of this stuff is, just next, next. And then finally get to the install button. Go ahead and click that and finished. I've already installed this on my computer, so I'm not going to do that. You can go ahead and do that. When it finishes installing, go to your Windows Start menu and type in git, G-I-T, right? Or git bash. And it should pop right up. When you click on it, this is what it will look like. And in the next video, we'll talk about what this is and how to use it and all that good stuff. And that's all there is to it. These are the tools we need. We don't need anything else. There's some things we'll have to download for Django, but we'll do them from the command terminal, from the prompt right here. So there's nothing like we have to go to a website and download and install from now on. We have all the tools that we need. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we'll jump in and start building out our project. Okay, in this video, we're going to set up and start using a virtual environment. And it's important when you're using Django to use virtual environments. And if you're not familiar with them, they're just like little walled gardens inside of your computer. So inside of our virtual environment, we're going to install Django, install our project, do all the things. And it's good for a lot of reasons. You can use different versions of Django inside of your virtual environment. And then, outside in your regular computer, there's no Django installed at all. So you might have an old website that requires a certain version of Django. You can install just that version in your virtual environment, and it's good for a bunch of other reasons too. It's just standard best practices. So head over to your Windows Start menu, type in git bash, and open up your git bash terminal. And the first thing we want to do is make a directory. That's mkdir. And we want to just create a directory that's going to hold all of our project files. So I want to put this in the C drive, and let's just call this Django API. Now we want to move into that directory, change directory, cd, C Django API. And if we type ls, we can see there's nothing in there. Okay, so now we want to set up and start using our virtual environment. So to do this, Python comes with a virtual environment that we're going to use. And to use it, we just go Python-m venv, stands for virtual environment, and then name this thing. What do we want our virtual environment to be called? Well, I just usually call it Vim, virtual environment, and we'll see why in just a second. So hit enter, it might take a couple of seconds. Okay, so now if we type in ls to list the stuff in this directory, we see there's this new venv folder. So to turn this on now, we type in source, and then that directory, and then the scripts directory, and then activate. Okay, and you'll notice every time I hit enter now, there's this little venv in parentheses. That means the virtual environment has been turned on. So that's on Windows. I think on a Mac, in order to turn it on, you type in source, and then I think it's bin activate. So if you're on a Mac, that should do the trick. So now we're in our virtual environment. To turn this off, we can just type in deactivate, and boom, you can see that venv thing is gone. So to turn it back on, again, just source venv scripts activate, and boom, the little venv thing is back. So now let's type in pip freeze, and this will show all of the Python things that are installed. And you can see there's nothing installed because this is a brand new virtual environment. There's nothing in this virtual environment. There's no Python things have been installed. So we have a fresh sort of brand new start, and that's exactly what we want. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we'll go ahead and install Django and some of the other tools that we're going to need for the course. And we'll do that straight from the terminal. It'll be super quick and easy. And that'll be in the next video. Okay, in this video, we're going to install Django and some other things, the Django REST Framework that we're going to need for this course. So we're in our virtual environment, and to install Django, we just type in pip install Django. Now, if you want to install a specific version of Django, you can type equal and then 1 point whatever, 2 point whatever version you want. You just designate it that way. We just want the latest version, so pip install Django. And pip is the Python installation processor, I don't know, program, something, pip. It's just what you use to install things with Python. And you can see it's downloading Django. It's also installing the SQL parse, this pytz, and Django itself. Pytz is a Python time zone file, does some things behind the scene. As SQL parse, SQL's a database, it does some database stuff. That's all just normal. Okay, we also need the Django REST Framework in order to create a REST API. So same command, pip install. It's just Django REST Framework. So it's collecting, installing, done. All right, so now we can type in pip freeze if we want to see what's been installed inside of our virtual environment. And you notice we've got Django, we've got the Django REST Framework, we've got this pytz, and we've got SQL parse. Now take a look at this. If I deactivate my virtual environment, turn it off, and then run pip freeze. Now this is saying what's installed on my computer. I've got a whole bunch of stuff installed, but you'll notice there's no Django, there's no Django REST Framework, there's no anything, right? SQL parse isn't in there. None of the things we just installed appear to be on my computer. And that's because, like I said in the last video, it's a walled garden, our virtual environment. So we've only installed these things inside the virtual environment. So that means every time you open up your terminal and you want to start working on your Django project, every single time you need to come to your C Django API directory and then type in that source, venv scripts activate command, and then you turn on your virtual environment. And then, we can see, sure enough, all those things that we installed are still there and you're good to go. So I think that's all for virtual environments. In the next video, we'll go ahead and start our Django project and start building it out. Okay, so we've got Django installed. Now it's time to start our project. So to do that, just head over to our terminal, clear the screen, and just type in django-admin.py and then start project. And then name it. What do we want to name our project? Well, let's just call it Django API. Okay, now if we type in ls to list the stuff in our directory, we have this Django API directory. So now we need to move into that directory, cd Django API. And now when we list this stuff, we see this manage.py file. This is the directory you always want to be in from now on in your terminal, whatever directory has your manage.py file, because we use this manage.py file to run Django commands. So you have to be in that directory. So, all right. So now let's head over to our Sublime text and let's add this project to Sublime. So click on project and then add folder to project. And then you just want to navigate to your C drive and find that Django API directory, double click it, and then find the second Django API directory inside of it, single click it just to highlight it, and then click select folder. And when we do, boom, we see our Django project. So the first thing we want to do is head over to our settings.py file, and let's get rid of these comments. We need to come down here to installed apps and add the Django framework that we installed in the last video. So to do that, we just come here and type in rest_framework. Right? Be sure to put your comma after it because we're going to need to add another installed app probably in the next video. So, okay. So our project is up and running. Now, the next thing we always want to do right at the beginning is push our migrations. When Django is first installed, it has some admin user database migrations that need to be pushed. So to do that in git bash, we type in win-pty and then Python manage.py and then migrate. And boom, 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 it's all been migrated. Okay, so now we can run our server to make sure that everything's been installed correctly. To do that, we just type in Python manage.py run server. And okay, it's starting to work. So now just head over to our web browser and go to localhost 8000. 8000 is the port that Django runs on. And we can say, hey, congratulations, we've got this little rocket. And the installation has worked successfully. So that's really all it takes to start our first Django project and get everything set up. In the next video, we'll go ahead and add another app to our project and start building this thing out. Okay, so we've got our project up and running. Now we need to add an app to it so that we can start building it out. So come back to our terminal, And we just want to Python manage.py start app and then name the app. So what do we want to name this app? Well, for this API that we're going to be building out, we're going to sort of create a catalog of my online courses. And that way we'll be able to sort of see all of my courses in an API format. Now there's a bunch of different reasons why we might want to do this. It doesn't really matter what API you're going to create. I just happen to be creating courses because I have a whole list of courses, and for an API you need a list of things, so I thought that would be a handy thing. So I'm going to call our app courses because it's going to be an API that lists all of my online courses, or at least some of them, right? So Python manage.py start app and then courses. And then now we can go back to our Sublime text and we see this courses directory. And inside of here, there's all kinds of stuff. So the first thing we want to always do is go to our settings.py file and add that new app. So here in installed apps, we just type in the name of it, courses. Always put your comma at the end. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So the next thing I always like to do is play around with the urls.py. So our new courses app doesn't have its own urls.py file. And as you probably know, the urls.py file is the thing that creates URLs for your app. So www.yoursite.com/courses. That /courses, that's the URL that you need to create. And you usually do that in a urls.py file. So we need to do a couple of things here. In this urls.py file, we want to add include, which allows us to include other files. So that's good. Now let's just go ahead and copy all of this. And let's create another urls.py file in our courses directory. So just right click on the courses directory, create a new file, and we can paste this in here, go to file, save as, and just call it urls.py. So now you'll see there's a urls.py. Let's see if we can close all these. Save this. There's a urls.py file in our courses directory, and there's a urls.py file in our Django API directory. So let's go to this one in the Django API directory. We need to make a quick change here. We need to include that new one in the old one. So to do that, we just go path, and then we want it to be the root. So double single quotation marks, and then just include, and then inside of here, the name of that directory, courses.urls. And I always put a comma at the end. So go ahead and save that, and we're good to go there. So we can close this. Now we pretty much won't do anything else, I don't think, in this urls.py file anymore. But we will do stuff in our courses urls.py file. For one, we can get rid of this admin thing. We don't need that. And let's get rid of this path. This is to the admin section of the website. And we'll look at that in the next video. We can get rid of that. Now here is where we'll put our URLs going forward. But right now we don't have any, and that's fine. So go ahead and save this for now. And I think we are ready to go. Let's see, the last thing we need to do, and we usually do this later, but we're already in urls.py right now. We need to import from this directory, import views. And we'll see why this is important later on. This just allows us to pull in our views, which is this file right here. There's nothing in there right now, but there will be pretty soon. Allows us to pull that into our urls.py file, and we'll see why that's important later on. So, all right, that's pretty much it for now. In the next video, I think we'll look really quickly at the admin section of the website and go from there. Okay, in this video, I want to look at the admin section of the website. And if we go back to our original urls.py file, we could see we've got this, we're importing this admin thing, and we've got this path to admin. So what is that? Well, Django comes with an administration area on the back end that you can do database stuff. And it's a nice little thing. If we actually come over here, we'll first go to our terminal and let's run our server. So Python manage.py runs server, and then head over to our web browser and go to localhost:8000/admin. And you see, here's the login for the administration area. Now we don't have a login yet. We haven't created that. So let's go ahead and do that in this video right now. So I'm going to come back here and Control-C to break out of our our server, and we just want to type win.py Python manage.py. Now I'm typing win.py because you have to do that for git bash. If you're on a Mac or Linux, you don't have to type win.py. You would just type Python manage.py. But for us in git bash, also if you're using a different terminal on Windows, such as PowerShell or something, you won't have to type in win.py. This is just a git bash thing. For some reason, we have to do that. So, all right, we need to create super user. So the command is win.py Python manage.py create super user. And it's asking for a username. I like admin, so I'll just type that in. Email address, you can put your email address or you can just leave it blank and hit enter. And password, type in a password. Now notice I just typed in my password, but nothing appeared on the screen. That's just a security measure, that's normal. So go ahead and hit enter, go ahead and type it again. All right, so our super user was created successfully. So now we can Python manage.py, run the server again, and head back to this admin area. And now we can type in our new super user username and the password, and boom, we have this cool little administration area. So there's nothing really in here now. If we click on users, we could see the user we just created, right? There's my email address. And if we click on this, you can, add some stuff. You want to add your name. I don't know why you would want to, but you can. And let's see, save. You can also click on this and delete it if you want down here. You can change the password by, let's see, right here. There's a little link. So it asks you for your password. You have to type it again, then you can change the password. Very cool. Now, granted, there's not much going on here right now, obviously, but later on, this will be very, very useful to use to create our API, because the API requires a database to store the API stuff in, and this allows us to interface with the database very easily. We can click add user. Well, we can click a button later on to add things to the database for our API, and it's just super useful. So that's the admin area. Not much to see there now, but later on it will be cool, I promise. And I think that's all for this video. So in the next video, we will start building our model for our API. Okay, in this video, we want to start to build out the model that we're going to use for our API. And we're going to create this API, and I sort of mentioned it earlier. It's going to be a list of my courses, and it'll have like the course title. It'll have the type of course it is. So it teaches Ruby, it teaches PHP, it teaches JavaScript, whatever language it teaches. And then it'll have like the price, and we might add some other stuff. But each of those things needs to be saved into the database so that we can then serve it up as an API to other people later on the website. So to do that, we start out. It's actually incredibly simple. We just go to inside of our courses directory, find our models.py file. And you can see there's nothing in there now. We can get rid of that comment. And now we just need to start building out a class for our model. So we just type in class and then name it. So I'm going to name this course because it's going to be courses. You tend to generally want to name your model singular. So instead of naming it courses, because then later on you'll see like courses, because later on Django pluralizes it in certain things. So we want to do it singular here. So inside of here, we want to pass models.model, and then we just define the things that we want to save. So I'm going to create a name. We want to create a course name, the programming language, and then let's just go price for now, right? So 3 fields. We can beef this up later on if we want to. But here, we just go models dot and then define the data type. And this is going to be a char field, which stands for character fields. If you're interested in the different data types, just Google like Django data types or SQL data types, things like that. We're using right now the SQLite database that comes with Django. So you could, I guess, you probably want to Google Django data types. But anyway, char field, that's a normal one. And inside of here, we want to pass max_length and set that equal. Now notice when I did this, it kind of changed. And this kind of looks like a capital L, but it's not. It's a lowercase l. So it puts a little hook on the bottom of it. I don't know why. That's just Sublime does that. So make sure that's lowercase. And we want the max length to be, I don't know, 200 characters, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Now for each of these things, we can do the same thing. For here, 100 characters is probably enough. And for here, let's go the price, let's go 10. And the length of that is like the characters. So like if I put the price as $49, that's 3 characters, 1, 2, 3. If I go $49.99, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. If I go $149, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. So the max we want is 10. I guess I could put 7, but it really doesn't matter. Back in the old days, it was important to map out how many characters your database used, because back in the old days, computer space was very limited and memory was very limited. So these days, it really doesn't matter. You don't even have to do this probably, but we just do. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So we can save this, and that's really all there is to it. Our model is now done. Now we have to make a migration and then push the migration into the database, and we're pretty much good to go. So let's head over to our terminal, and I'm going to Control-C to break out of the server, and we just go Python manage.py make migrations. And anytime you're doing database stuff, and it's not just Django, it's anything else really, Ruby on Rails, anything, database things are always a two-step process. You make your migration, and then you push your migration into the database. That's just sort of how it works. So here we're typing this Python manage.py file, make migrations. And what that does is it takes this file we just created with this class and sort of converts it into database language, right? That's what a migration is. So it's done that now. So now we just need to push that migration into the database, push that list of database language stuff into the database. And to do that, we just go Python manage.py migrate. And you remember we did this at the very beginning of the course when we pushed in the admin area migration. Okay, so that looks like it worked. So now let's go Python manage.py run server to run our server again. And let's head back over to our admin section and hit reload. And let's log out and log back in. And when we do, it looks like nothing has changed because we haven't associated our new database stuff with the admin area. So we'll go ahead and do that in the next video. Okay, so we've created our new model, but it's not showing up in the administration area yet. So that's a quick and easy fix. We just need to go to, let's see, inside of our courses directory, the admin.py file, and we just need to add a couple of things. So from .models, which is this file right here that we just played with in the last video, we want to import that class we just created, which is course. And that is just what we named this class right here, course. So we're saying, hey, import the course, right? So that will import it. Now we need to register it with our admin section. So we go admin.site.register, and then just pass in that name of that class, course. So if we save this and then head back over to our web browser and hit reload, boom, courses shows up. And you can see there are 0 courses because we haven't added any yet, but we can now. We can click this add course button, and this is why this admin area is super cool. We don't have to create any Python web pages in order to create a form that we have to fill out to add things to our database. We can just use this admin area, and it is super useful. Now, if you were creating a website where you wanted to do this on a website, you'd have to do all that stuff, but we're not. We're just creating an API that we want to update right here easily, right? Now, later on, we'll build out the API on the website itself, and there'll be a form there where we can add stuff and edit stuff. But for right now, we don't have anything yet. So let's just add a couple of them. So I'm going to add a couple of my courses that I have. So let's just do a couple, 2 or 3. So one of them is Python programming for everyone. The language is Python, and the price, let's say $49. So we can save and add another. So next we have Ruby programming for everyone. It is Ruby language. And again, I'm just going to put $49. So save and add another one. We've got JavaScript programming for everyone. Language of that is JavaScript. And for that one, we're going to say $49 for that. So we can go ahead and save. Now check this out. If we go back to our home here and we see our courses section, if we click on this, we have this weird course object 3, course object 2, course object 1. If we click on any of them, we can see it's the stuff, but that's awkward, right? Can we change this? And actually we can, and it is super, super easy. We just head back over to our models.py file, and inside of our class, make sure you're indented in. And I should mention, if you don't know, this is a tab. I haven't hit the space key a bunch of times. This is tab, and Python is tab sensitive, so it's important that you tab where you see me tab. So tab over here, and we can just define underscore underscore str underscore underscore, and then pass in self. And then inside of here, we can just return self.name. And so basically self is just our course. We're passing our course into this thing, and we want to return self.name. What is .name? That's this thing right up here, right? The name field in our database. So if we save this, head back over to our web browser and hit reload. Oh, unable to connect. Let's close this. Oh. Invalid syntax. That's weird. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. We need a space there. Doy. All right, so define space underscore underscore. All right, so save this. This should work now. There we go. And you'll see if we go home, click on courses, boom, now the names show up. And that's just because of these 2 lines of code. Again, make sure they're indented correctly. Put a space here. And very cool. So, okay, I think we're pretty much done with this sort of Django-y stuff. Now we need to do the API stuff to get this working as an API. And I think we'll start to do that in the next video. Okay, in this video, we're going to start to sort of build out the Django REST API stuff. So I'm just going to open a new web browser. I'm going to type in Django REST API or REST Framework. And here it is, django-rest-framework.org. And this is the Django REST Framework. And we installed this way back at the beginning of the course when we installed Django. We installed the Django REST Framework. And you can kind of look through here if you want. And see, we pip installed it just like this. There's some optional packages we did not install because we don't really need. We added the installed REST framework to our installed apps in our settings.py file. And this is no longer correct. Looks like this is a little outdated. But you could check through here if you're interested, look at development. This is a very introductory course on Django REST APIs. If you want to dive in more detail after you finish this course, this is a good place to go. There's some quick start guides and other guides that you can look at. Has some stuff, you know. But for now, we'll just leave that as that. So for us, the next thing we want to do is create a serializer. And this sort of takes the data from our database and serializes it into, in our case, JSON, which is what most APIs use to send data around the internet. So the serializer, it translates our data to and from JSON. So it's just an important thing. So in our courses directory, we just want to create a new file. And let's go file, save as, and let's save this as serializers.py. And did I spell that correctly? Serializers, yes. And inside of here, we need to from REST underscore framework. We want to import serializers, okay. And then we need to also import our model. So from .models, import course, which again is just our models, and then this course, right? Okay. Now, inside of here, we need to create a class, and let's go class, and this is going to be course serializer, singular, and then that's going to use serializers dot model serializer. So did I spell all those correctly? Serializers dot model, capital M, serializers, capital S, serializer. And again, this kind of looks like a capital L right here, but it's not. It's just Sublime doing its weird thing. All right, so inside of here, we need to pass a class of meta. And inside of that, we need to tell it what model to use. So the model equals course, which is just this guy, course. Of course. And the fields we want in our API are fields, and set that equal to, and this is just a tuple of all the fields that we want. So we want an ID, and this is just a number. We didn't put this in our model, but it does it anyway, because whenever you put things in a database, it always gives it an ID number. So each item is an ID number, has an ID number automatically given to it. So we want to use that. We also want to use the name, and we want to use the language, and we want to use the price, right? And these things I'm taking straight out of our model, right? So that's name, language, and price. Here we're saying use the name, the language, and the price, right? So go ahead and save this. And that's pretty much it. So our serializers are done. Our serializer, I should say, is done. And in the next video, we'll go ahead and start building out our views for the actual web pages that the API will create for us. And that'll be in the next video. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this preview of my Django API course. If you want to continue on and keep watching the videos, unfortunately, you have to pay for it. This is a paid course. And in this video, I'm going to show you really quickly how you can get it super cheap. It doesn't hardly cost anything, but this we'll talk about in this video. So this is my website, codemy.com. And if you just scroll down, you can see all the courses that I have here. And click on the Build an API with Django and Python course. And you can see there's 19 videos, 1.5 hours. And click the Add to Cart button. Normally it's $29, but if you come over here and click on this discount code thing here, and then type in YouTube API, all one word, all lowercase, and click Apply, you see it knocks off $20. You pay just $9. Money back guarantee and all that good stuff. The same exact videos you've been watching, just continuing on from where we left off in the last video. You can also come over to my codemy.com website and get all my courses. Now, normally they're $49, but I'll give you another coupon code. If you click here, I see normally $49. Just click on the discount code thing and type in YouTube and click Apply, and you can see it takes another $22 off. So you pay just $27 to access all my courses. Now, of course, that's a one-time fee. It's not recurring. It's not monthly. There's nothing more to pay ever. You get all my courses. You get all my future courses at no charge. As soon as I release a course, it just pops up in your account. I have several best-selling coding books, Amazon #1 best-selling coding books. You get the PDF versions of all of those for free. It's just really cool. So you can see here we've got Ruby on Rails, Python, more Rails, lots of Django and Python stuff if you're interested. Here's a cryptocurrency portfolio app with Python. That's a desktop app. That's kind of cool. Ruby, some JavaScript, SQL database, more Ruby, more Django, more Ruby, more Ruby, more Django. Just all kinds of stuff here. Lots of Django, PHP, Steam at cryptocurrency. Here's a course on Ubuntu Linux. If you've ever sort of wondered what Linux is all about, you can check that out. A lot of coders use Linux, and you'll see why in that video. Some WordPress, some basic HTML, a couple little marketing courses. You know, we build stuff, we build apps. You still have to market those apps. You still have to market those websites. So we got a couple courses on that. Let's see, my SQL database with Python, another PHP, Postgres database with pgadmin, basic HTML and CSS courses, a few Node courses if you're into JavaScript, SQLite database, and here's another Django or Ruby on Rails app and several Django apps. So like I said, one low price, $27. You really just can't beat that. I have to charge something in order to just cover my bandwidth, you know what I mean? So I think $27 is massively fair. This is just hundreds and hundreds of videos and all for one low price. Now, you can also watch my courses, including the Django API course on Udemy. And I've got coupon codes there as well. If you just like Udemy for some reason, or if you've got some credits there or whatever, head over to my personal website, johnelder.com/udemy.php. And here's all the same exact courses at Codemy, but you can get them on Udemy. And each one of these has a coupon code embedded into the link. So, you know, Udemy, I don't really control the prices on Udemy. They do their own thing. And if you know about Udemy, they're constantly changing prices. So I can't tell you exactly what it's going to cost if you click on one of these, but chances are it's going to be around $13 or $14 at the moment. At the time of recording this video, that seems to be the price that these discount to. Like I said, I don't have any control over that. That's just the lowest price that Udemy is offering at the moment. If they're offering lower than that at the moment, you'll see a lower price. But if they're offering higher than that, the course may be higher than $13 or $14 or whatever. You just sort of take your chance. But you can check this out if you're interested. You know, you can get it on my on my website for $9, or you can get it on Udemy for $14 or $15 or more potentially. But whatever you like, if you like their setup, then you can check it out. And again, these are just all my courses that we just looked at that are on Codemy as well. So anyway, that's how you can get the course from here on out. You know, we watched the first 9 or 10 videos or so as a sort of free preview here on YouTube. From here on out, you got to pay for it though. But $9 I think is more than fair for an online course. And if you're interested, if you've liked what you've seen so far and you want to continue learning, you know, $9 is nothing. Coffee costs $6 or $7 nowadays, so no big deal. But really look at this total membership if you're interested. $27 for all of my courses, all my books. You get access to me. You can ask questions. You get access to other students. They can interact with you. You can post questions under each video, and other students can answer, or I'll answer. It's a really cool community. We have over 60, pushing 70,000 students at the moment. So you know, it's pretty active and a lot of fun. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you take advantage of these coupon codes, and we'll see you in the next one.